Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that this is my brief 1-month series in which I'm diving into a wonderful deck called the Tarot of the Holy Light, created by Christine Payne-Towler. And this is my third episode, my third video with this series. And you probably saw in the thumbnail the card that I got for today. What I'm doing is I'm pulling a card, maybe later 2 cards, and then maybe later 3 cards. But right now I'm pulling 1 card a day, and then I'm sitting with that card. And then at the end of the day, I look at the book and reflect on how the message in the book matches or doesn't match my anticipated Rider-Waite-Smith based understanding of that card, and also how it matches or does not match my experience of the day. So today, I got finally an upright card. Yeah, you saw it in the thumbnail. I got the Ace of Wands in the upright. The first 2 cards in this series were both reversed, right? So I finally got an upright card. And what a card to get upright. The Ace of Wands. When I think of the Ace of Wands, I think of new passions, new desire. Yeah, it's the first flame of something new, a new creation about to be manifest, but something that also needs to be nurtured, right? All of the aces, in my understanding, are like seeds that need to be tended for them to germinate and grow into large trees or large oceans or large swords or large coinage, right? So the Ace of Wands, wand soup, one of my favorite, because my sun sign is Leo, I'm a fire sign, right? So wands, I love those. And again, an upright card, that was exciting. So I got that card and I was thinking those things. And as usual, I also pulled 3 cards from a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck to help me enter into the card perhaps just a little bit more. And the 3 cards I got were these. Let me show you. These cards were the 2 of Pentacles, which, if you recall from yesterday, when I looked at the Temperance card from the Light Seekers deck, I thought immediately of the 2 of Pentacles, because it has a kind of 2 of Pentacles layout. It has a kind of 2 of Pentacles look to it. But today, I actually got the 2 of Pentacles for the first card. And then next, I got the 8 of Swords, not a fun card, but that's the card in either opposition or support of the first card. And then the third card, my advice card, was the High Priestess, one of my favorite cards. So what I got from that, jumping off of what I think of an Ace of Wands, was, yes, I've got something new. I've got new opportunity. I've got a new passion developing. But I want to be balanced. I don't want to go too far into the new and leave too much of the old behind, perhaps, or I don't want to let this new thing throw my day out of balance. I don't want to let this new thing to throw my life out of balance, right? So I want to keep balance of my resources, my time. I don't want to invest everything into this one new thing, but I do want to invest in it in balance, right? And what could help or stands in the way, and I think because this is the 8 of Swords, it's something that stands in the way, is my own anxiety, my fears about this new thing, right? And then, as advice, we got the High Priestess, yeah? The ultimate, for me, diviner's card. Yeah, it's my card that I think of myself as a tarot reader, as an oracle reader. I see myself as the High Priestess in that capacity. Also, connecting with the divine wisdom of water, connecting with the divine wisdom within. Yeah, I don't see as a gatekeeper, but as a guide, showing us in when we're ready. And I see those of us who read tarot or oracle cards as also being that high priestess. So that's what I got from this card. That there's an opportunity. I want to keep balanced. I don't want to let myself get wound up in anxiety. And I want to allow myself to be my inner high priestess, my inner crone, my inner wise one. So I went about my day, and then I looked at the book, and it was interesting. Let me read you a little bit from the book, and then I'll tell you what happened during the day. So, the Ace of Wands in this deck. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You know this. The Ace of Wands symbolizes a pivotal act or a fateful step that will set loose a chain of events leading towards your desired goal. Very similar to what we think of in the Rider-Waite-Smith system, right? But it's a pivotal act, a step. Now there's action in this. As such, it refers to a birth or new beginning, the inauguration of an endeavor, and the necessary passion to move intention into action. So there is that passion, but it's also action. It's not just the passion, it's also action. A little bit lower, all four aces share this energy of firstness, but the Aries Ace is premier among them all because it is associated with the season of spring, also with fire. Yeah? This ace, more than any other, has the connection of starting with a blank slate in the sense of emerging from one's own center, unconditioned by any prior limiting influence. And this is like that monad. Now, going back to my studies with the Thoth, the Thoth system is very based on the Kabbalah. And when we look at the small cards, the pips, the minors, we think of each suit as being one tree of life. Now, the ace being the first, the monad, and winding its way down, the first being the Kether, winding its way down to Malkuth with the 10th, with number 10. And it's interesting because when you think of the Thoth system, it starts with the fire, the wands. And then there's a whole other tree below and just offset from that starts again in the cups, again with Kether, and winding its way down to Malkuth. And then below that is the suit of swords, below water and just a bit pulled back, if you want to think spatially. So this also begins from Kether and winds its way to Malkuth, and then we go down into Pentacles again, just below swords, and then pulled back just a little bit, and goes from Kether and winds its way down to Malkuth. So there's this step form of 4 different trees of life. And the first one, the first Kether, the first monad, the very first is the Ace of Wands in the Crowley deck. So when I read this, all of that information comes back to me, comes into mind, that this Ace of Wands is the first of all firsts. It's the blank slate, as it was described in the book. Yeah, everything else flows from this, but it's also the one that contains it all. It contains it all because the other things don't add to it. It's this one thing that divides and divides and divides and divides and divides into all that is, and then eventually becomes matter. Yeah? So we have this Ace of Wands, the one that is the ultimate beginning from a blank slate. And moving on to the next page, there are a couple of things I wanted to point out. Another image for this, according to Christine Payne-Towler, is that, yeah, it's a seed, but it could also be like a hive. Yeah, that all of the stuff is contained in this one thing, this one hive perhaps, and that all of that stuff can come pouring out like bees from a hive from this preeminent, this first thing, this container thing. Does that make sense? So the Ace of Wands is that first movement towards action from the fire of passion. And so what happened today. And it's interesting because I think this all weaves together. Yeah? The night before, I had been debating with myself. We're on a ship and we get to ports of call, and when we get there, we have the option to get off the ship or to stay on the ship. And I'd gone off. If you saw the second video, you know I had a wonderful adventure the day before. And so last night I was thinking, yeah, I don't know. Do I want to get off the ship? Do I want to spend most of the day or all of the day on the ship with my mother? I don't know. And my heart was pulling a little bit more towards staying on the ship. Interesting thing. I got up in the morning and the ship had not docked. Apparently there had been enough turbulences in the air, but the sea was rocking the ship enough for them not to feel safe docking. Now, some of us felt that, but I slept through all of that. And still, the ship was supposedly, or the captain believed the ship was not safe enough to dock, so we passed that port by. So the decision was made for me. Yeah, my heart was moving towards staying on the ship, and the decision was confirmed, made for me. We didn't stop. So I stayed on the ship with my mom and her companion. And so I went up for breakfast, and after breakfast, I pulled this card, and I was thinking, oh, this is wonderful, an upright Ace of Wands. I love it, but what the hell? What could possibly be this new fire? I'm on the ship. I'm staying here. I'm staying home. I don't foresee any adventures, any new beginnings for me in the day. And especially then with all this having to balance things and the anxiety and the advice to be my own high priestess seemed much more important than what I thought this day would become. So, ate breakfast, came down, was chatting with my mom, and we got the call. Remember yesterday we got the call? We got a call actually on the phone. And they told us that they had a new cabin available to us. Actually, 2 new cabins available to us. We had wanted to get my mother into a handicap accessible cabin. And when we got on the ship, there were none. Now, we were in a very cramped, beautiful, large. It was they called it a suite. A beautiful, beautiful place, but for 3 adult people, one of them needing wheelchair space, the room was too cramped. Well, we survived. I mean, we were enjoying it. I think you saw in the other videos, I was having fun. I loved doing it, but we got the call. We had another suite available to us. 2 suites available to us. One completely handicapped accessible, and one separate one right next to it for me at no additional charge. What a wonderful thing, right? So, that's how it began. That's how the day began. And we started thinking about we had to start packing and started getting things organized. And the steward who was around came in and was starting to make the beds, because they make the beds every day for us. Make the beds in the late morning and then turn them down in the early evening so that we can go to sleep whenever we want. And so the steward came in, and I was there because I had nothing else to do. And he saw me with these cards and asked me what are my hobbies, and I told him I did tarot, and he said, oh really? Well, we have some things for divining the future, and we talked about that. What is divination? According to me, according to his tradition, he's from Bali in Indonesia. And we got to talking, and then he asked me if I would be willing to, and I offered. He asked kind of simultaneously, would I be interested in reading for him, consulting with him? And I said, yes, I would be. And then after he left, I was thinking, yes, but what deck do I want to use? I started getting a little bit gnarled up about that. Ta-da! And so I decided to use my pendulum. I bought a pendulum in Copenhagen. So I decided to use my pendulum to decide which deck I was going to use. And the pendulum told me, no, not this one, which would be very easy to use. No, not the Holy Light, because I'm really not ready to read for others with this deck yet. And no, not my other Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It wanted me to use my Tarot de Marseille deck. I used my Dodal. And I looked at the pendulum and I said, you little anyways. Because I have never really read freely with Tarot de Marseille for other people yet. I've read for myself. I've read for other people with Rider-Waite-Smith. I've even ventured with Thoth, but I've never read for another person with Tarot de Marseille. But the pendulum was saying, do it. And so I was nervous. I was worried. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. What kind of a layout should I do? Should I do a 3 card? Should I do a 9 card? No, this, right? But then I remembered, but I am this. This was the advice. So, all in all, I had these wonderful new bursts of activity, bursts of new starts, new room, new reading, new opportunity to read for somebody I've never read before, with a deck I've never read for other people with. And in retrospect, it all feels very much like an upright Ace of Wands to me. What do you think? Does it seem like an upright Ace of Wands to you? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Comment below. Tell me what you think. What do you think of this reading? Does the Ace of Wands seem to match what I'm describing? And hit the like button if you're still here and you think that this was worthy so that YouTube knows to show this video to other people. Also, hit the alarm bell if you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe and hit the alarm bell. And also comment below. I would really love to hear from you. And friends, if you want a private reading from me, there will be a link to my Instagram account. You can hop over there and we can set up a private reading for you. So friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.